I'd like to juxtapose two different experiences that I had in my lifetime, and I would like to look for something that's underlying, look for something that helps us understand the difference between the two. I remember when I was about 9 or 10 years old, there was one particular Shabbat where I came to my mother with in my mind, not such a difficult question. In her mind, it was like earth-shattering. And I said to her, I said, Ma, the neighbors on the block, they're Italian, but one of the neighbors on the block, for their birthday, they're getting a special ride in a fire truck. Can I go? And I was really just asking as a formality. I really wasn't asking her permission because I figured, what's the big deal? And my mother said, absolutely not. You are not riding in a fire truck on Shabbat. I said, but Ma, I'm just sitting in the truck. I'm not touching anything. There's nothing electric. In my mind, as a 9-year-old, I couldn't understand the nuances that went into what may be problematic. And I was really crushed. I was devastated. I said, Ma, you're not fair. You're crushing my life. I don't understand why you're doing this to me. It's not fair. That was episode number 1. Episode number 2, not too long later in my life, there was some carnival or other where there were fire trucks that were on display, and we all had the opportunity to go into the trucks. There were ambulances, there were other types of vehicles. And for whatever reason, I had no interest to go into the fire truck. And I didn't really pay attention to it. And I went on through that experience as such. Years later, reflecting on these two experiences, I wondered to myself, what was the difference? What was the catalyst that on one end drove me to be crazy about being a part of the fire truck experience, and on the other side, had no care or desire to be in the fire truck? Same truck. But what was the difference? Who could help me understand the difference between these two? Jacob.
One of them you were denied the access to.
Okay, so one of them I was able to just go freely, and the other one I wasn't, and so maybe we're intrigued to do what we're not allowed to. Okay, good thought. Alan?
Maybe it was that you didn't have any friends at the carnival, and you'd rather do something.
Okay, so I love what Alan is saying. That's exactly what I want to talk about today. Guys, in idea number 1, in the first experience, it wasn't about the fire truck. It was about, there's an experience that other people are partaking in, and I'm not included in that experience. Ergo, I feel like I am an outcast. I feel like I'm a reject. And now that's a reflection of who I am as an individual. And that's what drove me. Had it been the same for the other experience, right, at that carnival where I had access to go into the fire truck, perhaps, I'm going to float this idea out there, we can agree or disagree, but maybe, just maybe, if others were also going into the fire truck in the carnival, maybe that would have led me to go into that fire truck as well, and not just dismiss it as I did. So I want to talk about this need for socialization and this craving that we have to be like others, to do as others do. And I want to go through a life progression with you to maybe understand what's led us up until this point. See, from a very, very young age, even before you could talk, there were individuals in your lifetime who were already encouraging and pushing you to be like other people. And I'm going to talk about myself. I can't talk about others, but as a parent, we do this all the time. I currently have an 8-month-old, my son Maurice. He's not crawling. Forget walking, forget talking, right? My daughters at the same age, they were much more advanced, right? My Michelle was talking, my Rose was already crawling. And so all of a sudden the thought as a parent is, what's wrong with my kid? Must be that there's something off. Because why isn't he like the other 8-month-olds that are crawling and are doing things that he is not? And then we fast forward just a little bit later into the progression as a 5-year-old. right? You know what my mother used to hear from teachers when I was in kindergarten and first grade? All of the other children sit on the rug during talk time. Not Aaron. Aaron can't sit on the rug. Aaron has to sit in a chair. Why is he so different? Why can't he sit on the rug like everybody else? And then we fast forward just a little bit more, and maybe, hopefully not in this school, but when I was a kid, I certainly heard this thought as a 4th grader or a 5th grader. I wish every student could be like so-and-so, who does their homework and who participates and who behaves all the time. Why can't all of the students be like this individual? And then we go more into our life progression, and now you start doing it too as an individual. Then you start getting into middle school and to high school, and you start having these thoughts of, oh, I wish I could be like such and such person. That individual is such a cool guy. I wish I could have the circumstances of that person's life. Why can't I be like that person? And so, boys, I want to call a spade a spade. The reality is that we gravitate towards others. We want to be like other people. I want to offer a bit of a suggestion in terms of rationalizing what exactly we're experiencing. And you all know that I've referenced many a times in my other talks the idea about evolution and survival of the fittest. So I'm going to do it here as well because I find it fitting. Think about it for a second, boys. In our development as human beings, if you didn't know, if you couldn't figure out how to travel alongside other human beings, your chances for survival were decreased greatly. Because humans who traveled on their own and needed to survive the rough elements that were in society at those times were less likely to survive than those that had others to help them and to defend them and to care for them and to nourish them. So there's this idea, boys, and I want everyone to listen to this thought carefully, that our brains over time have been hardwired to crave and to search for our need to be around other people, but not just to be near them, but to be exactly like them, to do as they do. And I understand that we're only in 8th grade, but I want to give you a glimpse as to what's up ahead for you in your future, because your lives are about to come to a crashing halt. Because, boys, life progresses onwards. And reality starts to change when you enter high school and beyond. Because you know what the questions start to become? We start talking about who's the valedictorian, who is the sports MVP, who's getting into the top prestigious colleges, who's going to get that crazy job promotion. You know who gets it? Somebody that's different, somebody that's special, somebody that it warrants for that particular item. I want you to think about it for a second, boys. When we talk about who is a top athlete, what do they say who the top athlete is? You know what one common thing is? They'll say, this athlete is the first one in and the last one out of the gym. They don't say things like, oh, this athlete is just like everybody else who can shoot and perform like everybody else. They find something different. They find something that is unique. And so, boys, here's what we need to figure out. We need to figure out how to find a balance between our craving and our desire for socialization and to be like others, because that is something that is important. I'm not saying that we should all live on our own deserted island and we should all be in isolation for the rest of our lives. There is significance and there is relevance to socialization and for us to find our peers and our mates and so on and so forth. But here is the question. Is this desire that I have that is hardwired in my brain to be around and like others, is it compromising my identity? Is it taking away my ability to distinguish myself from everybody else? Because if that is the case, you are going to have a very hard time in your future. You know, when I was in college, I went to St. John's University. and they made us have an orientation day where every single new freshman student had to sit in a room, and we all had to socialize with one another, and we had to say our name, and we had to say what our hopeful job would be after our experience. So I walked in thinking, okay, I'm going to be a sports agent. This is my job, and I'm going to be a killer sports agent, and I'm going to be the only special guy who's going to be a sports agent. So I'm sitting in the orientation room, and I'm listening to everybody else. Hi, I'm Bob, and whatever, I want to be a sports agent. Like, oh, cool, one other sports agent. All right, maybe we'll start a nice action together, me and this eye gay. Beautiful. Okay, next guy. Yeah, hi, I'm Chris. I'm going to be a sports agent. Little weird. Okay, next. Hi, I'm Tristan. I'm going to be a sports agent. And soon enough, every single person in the room all thought that they were going to be a sports agent. And all of a sudden, I had a little dose of a reality check, and I said, Aaron, what the heck is going on here? How are you different than every other Joe Schmo in the room? You're just like them. You think that you're going to be a sports agent. How are you going to get there? I don't know. I'm going to go to St. John's, and somehow I'm going to be a sports agent. Hey, everybody else thinks the same thing. And we're just in one school. How about the kids in the other colleges that also want to be sports agents? Problem. Boys, you are about to enter one of the most crucial points in your life, high school, where this need for socialization and for us to be like others will be taken to the craziest of crazy levels. And the question is, do you have the X factor built inside of your system to distinguish between this is my time to hang out and to have fun, and this is the line that I don't think I should cross because I know that I'm not a Joe Schmo that's like everybody else. I am special. I am going to be something in my life, and I need to distinguish me from everybody else. Boys, now is the time where maybe you have some of those things. What is your passion? Do you like to play piano? Are you a hazan? Are you something? What is it that makes you different from everybody else? Do you have that item? If you do, never, ever run away from that item. Because that's what we do, right? Sometimes we say, oh, this makes me different. How is it going to make me look in front of the others if they see that I do this when really everybody else does that? Maybe right now at your age you can't recognize what it does for you, but boys, I'm telling you right now, you take that X factor that you have and you embrace it. And you say to yourself, one day there will come a time in my life where I'm going to cash in on this X factor that I have. Find the balance, enjoy and socialize, but never, ever, ever forget about our identity, who you are, what makes you special, because one day there's going to be a question. Why should I accept you into my institution? Why should I accept you into my job, this prestigious job that I have? And they're going to ask, what makes you different? What will your answer be? Shabbat Shalom.